Hi everyone, this is the instructor Ayumi from Ayumi'S Oasis Self-Defense and MMA, presented by Healing Tiptoes. So today I decided to make this video and it's very, very important. So I'm going to talk about dojo rules and dojo etiquette today. So what's happening is I've been a martial artist for 10 years and I've been in different dojo and I've learned so much about those rules, and you have to respect the instructor and you have to respect the classmates, and they have to respect me and all that stuff. And I was wondering, I don't know, a lot of people know about those things, okay? And I don't want my student to be coming to my dojo, other dojo, and looks like, I don't want to call fool, but they're not gonna be mean to you. That's because maybe you didn't know the rules, but I don't want you to look bad, okay? So I'm going to talk about importance of these rules, and then if you follow the rules, usually maybe instructor or grandmaster or master, whichever the dojo you go, there's rules on the wall or they'll tell you something. But I remember that I never even hear from anybody. I just kind of observe what they do and then I learned. And I remember one girl came to the dojo and she said something, it's really, probably she didn't mean to, but it's sounded really, really rude and it was very, very embarrassing. Okay, so I'm going to talk about that. So carefully listen. Okay, so if you go to martial arts dojo and you learn martial arts or self-defense, there's a difference. Okay, martial arts depends on the style, taekwondo or judo or jiu-jitsu. There's a slightly different how to put the belt. Okay, so learn how to put the belt correctly from the main instructor. And I don't want to be rude, but someone there in learning sometimes give you a wrong techniques or wrong way to do certain thing. They didn't mean to, they're trying to help you. So you'll be nice too, but trying to learn from main instructor, that's the key. So that way you will never learn a wrong way and you don't feel like, oh, she or he told me the wrong thing. So make sure that be nice to them, but make sure ask the main instructor. All right, so next thing is martial arts class. They probably have a gi, okay? Jiu-jitsu have a gi, and Aikido have the gi. Jiu-jitsu have a gi, and Taekwondo's gi. They all have a gi. Taekwondo's gi is different from Jiu-jitsu because Jiu-jitsu gi is more thick because they have to be pulled in and using the gi to do techniques, and Taekwondo is just to kicking punches and stuff. So different type of gi, but you need to learn how to put that gi. And self-defense, they might let you wear just that dojo or gym t-shirts and then maybe yoga pants or workout outfit on the bottom. So those are all that. Make sure the clear thing. Okay. Next one is the jewelries. Okay. Sometimes I see like a little students, like a young student, wear a necklace and the earring, and it's really, really dangerous if something happened and get punched on that earring or necklace or breaks. Of course, you're not gonna like that. So make sure don't wear any jewelries and hair pins and stuff like that. That's gonna hurt when you, especially the jujitsu and stuff like that. And another thing is let's see. So different martial arts style, different type rules to answer the instructor or grandmaster asking you to do something or command something. Okay, my dojo, online and on-site dojo, my student will say yes, ma'am, and yes, sir. Okay, if I have a guy instructor coming helping me out, the student's gonna say yes, sir, yes, ma'am. All right, but then jujitsu, they might say os or us. Okay, when I was in Aikido dojo, we say os. So os means in Japanese sometimes yes or I got it, kind of. And we use for actually the gangster or like Yakuza people, the boss say something and then those guys under them, they will say os like that. I don't know how they came to the martial arts for so that from Yakuza world, but we say os or us. So every time instructor says something, us, like make sure that you understand. It's not that instructor trying to be boss of you or anything. Make sure you understood between the instructor and the student. So make sure that's because you don't want to use your voice and not say anything. The instructor think that you don't understand, or you just kind of like rude, not say anything. So make sure you respond to instructor, yes sir, yes ma'am, or also like that. Okay, another thing is before you get on the mat, sometimes they tell you, but sometimes they won't tell you. And then I don't want you to look bad and get on the mat without bowing. So make sure you have a sit stance, the straight your posture, and then 45-degree bow before you get on the mat. Once you finish the class, of course, you face to the mat and then bow before you get off. And of course, Taekwondo have rules before you get on the mat, bow, and as well as bow to flag. So those things probably the students already there is going to probably tell you how to do it, but make sure every place you go, you bow before you get on the mat. Okay, that's kind of like a showing the respect to the mat. All right, so next thing I'm gonna talk about is if you are parents or you came to watch your friends how he or she does, that's great. You go watch them, but during the class, not smiling at each other, talking each other, or maybe parents. A lot of parents do is like, hey, right hand, no, John, left hand. Like that's really. I understand. You want your son and daughter to do right, but it's really distracting at class as well as the students gonna always looking at parents, and it's not good. That's because of the instructor doesn't say anything at the moment. Pretty much instructor notice what he or she doing wrong or not pay attention. Let's just kind of like trust the instructor and let him or let her do their job. So that way he's not gonna looking at parents, he's not looking at instructor. That's really confusing. So that's the one thing I really, really realize, and I always have to tell the parents. I understand you want to be a cheerleader, audience, and let your kids or I don't know, significant doing right, but make sure be quiet and not iPad or making a lot of noises as well. Another thing, this is a big, big thing. So how Bruce Lee is, his philosophy is to be a water, and he didn't stick with the one practice. So someone stay in the one practice, going to the one dojo, they might not having a lot of experience. So that's another reason I want to explain. I am like a Bruce Lee. I like to be learning different martial arts, whatever I interested, and I'm not just staying at a few weeks or a couple months. I stay at least 3 years or more longer. So I learned this from actually by my experience. So, if your instructor right now don't really, care that you're going to other dojo learn different style of martial art, some instructor is not okay. So that's why the reason why Bruce Lee was kind of kicked out or have problem with all kind of association in Chinatown, whatever. But you go to other dojo and you come into the main, I don't know, the main dojo or whatever, you go into different places. Make sure you learn something from each instructor. Keep yourself. And if you learn from the instructor from, for example, jiu-jitsu, and you learn certain techniques, and you went to other dojo, it wasn't jiu-jitsu, but some of the techniques you learned was kind of jiu-jitsu techniques. And it's a difference, okay? If you really honestly have a question from deeper from your heart, you can ask respect way. But don't ever be like rude or jerk, like, oh, I learned this way, I think this is right, you're telling me wrong way. That is very rude, okay? Make sure you keep yourself, and because there's so many same kind of just getting up from the floor. There's so many ways to getting up. So there's no wrong or right. If you learn 2-3 things, tell yourself, I'm lucky, I got to learn a lot of different styles. Then just kind of, put your ego on the side. A lot of martial artists, myself, we are all competitive, and sometimes your ego coming up, and you can put your ego down and not become a little bit rude martial artist, and it's not cool to be that kind of martial artist. So make sure that you learn, be humble, and put those techniques you learn from other instructor on the side. And if you really have a question about those tools, confusing, you can ask the instructor maybe after the class or respect away, right? Another thing is the same thing. If the instructor talking, you're going to be quiet not just to not raising your hands or anything, just start talking like, well, I think you should do this, do that. That may look really, really full, okay? So make sure that you finish letting the instructor talk and then you raise your hands, or maybe after the class, you don't want to interrupt. Kind of like a, I don't want to call stupid question anything. There's no such a stupid question. The other question is important, but you don't want to be repeat the same thing. Sometimes, like I said, you need to have self-awareness as a martial artist, or journey of being a martial artist. When instructor talking, depends on the martial art style, hands on the front and holding like that, or behind your back, and make sure you really listening, pay attention, not looking at somewhere else, or like sitting a weird way or anything like that. Make sure that that's another way to show respect as well. Another thing I want to talk about is when we partner up and do self-defense techniques, or maybe like sparring, okay? I usually make my students bow each other, kind of like a taekwondo style, but we bow each other. So that bow is basically, I'm solely in advance, because it will happen when you do like Aikido techniques and the wrist, techniques, or locking that elbow, whatever. And sometimes you just go into it, like, your techniques, and you didn't realize that you're hurting that partner's wrist, whatever. So that's how you bow, before you start doing training. But make sure 35-40%, which is everybody's 35-40% different. So if your partner say, oh my God, it's too much, listen, don't be jerk, okay? Also, the partner say, you can do a little bit harder. You can also communicate with the partner, right? You don't want to be bowing the first and I'm so in advance, I did it already, so I can hurt you. And that's really, really jerk, okay? Now sometimes some guys used to do that to me. I do the eye shot. Of course, I don't do eye shot for real in somebody's eye, but I did eye shot, and I do maybe punching somewhere, and then I'm trying to do the main technique, and then this guy was like, what are you gonna do? What are you gonna do? He's holding really tighter. I was like, dude, I just eye shot on you. I just punched your rib is should be losing right now. So those type of thing it's all about ego, right? And you have to put your ego on the side, because you don't want to look full, okay? And lastly, let's see. Lastly, okay, if there's a difference of your instructor, I hope that all the instructors be really professionally nice to you and firm to you, because you don't want your instructor to be too nice and they're not firm to you. So if your instructor is very, very hard on you, you might receive it as, don't think that, oh, he or she mean to you, right? What that means is that he or she really think that you're really good, and they want you to get better. So sometimes they might be hard on you, okay? But there's a difference. There's a difference of a hard on you and they are actually start bullying you. I was thinking about always that I respect my, instructor so much, and from the Taekwondo, and I stayed with her so long years, like crazy. Like I see her more than like anybody else. Like, people are joking around, like, are you guys married or something? And I'm really, really loyal to her, and I go to the dojo to practice, Taekwondo and other martial arts. She introduced me, and I do boxing, kickboxing every day. That was crazy, almost 4.5 or 5 years. But I started noticing, I thought that she was hard on me, but it started changing to bullying me. Okay, so if that's the case, you talk to grandmaster or somebody who close to you and just ask questions. That's what I did, because I didn't want to just leave. I don't want to be thinking that I have a weak mind or something. I could take this, whatever, but bully is not okay. And martial arts field, sometimes, unfortunately, there's authority. We say yes ma'am and yes sir all the time. So some people are using that to bully you. Okay, I talked to grandmaster from same kind of association. He told me that, do you believe she felt the threatened by you? And I didn't understand at all. I didn't understand at all. I was so sad for 3-4 months. It took me 3-4 months to think and decide. I left the dojo. I didn't want to leave because I really love the training. But if somebody bullying you, don't let that happen continually. You can always go other different dojo and respectful instructors there. And I don't know what happened to the instructor. Maybe she going through things. I have no idea. But we are human, so when you feel like your students are getting better and good, you may feel threat. Okay, for me, my students get better. Oh my God, that's my students. I hope he and she get better and pass me. Maybe they start teaching somewhere. That's what I want. Okay. She was saying something like that, but end up it wasn't like that. Everybody got scared when she say something to make me feel a certain way. Nobody was helping me. Let it happen like that. And there's a lot of obligation between the instructors and other instructor. So those things as a student, you don't need to know. You come there and pay and you should be fully get service. So make sure you talk somebody around. Don't just stick with that and you think, oh, she's just hard on me, because I'm really good, or he's just really hard on me because I'm really good. If there's a sign that somebody bullying you, please stop and find a better dojo to train because you're the one paying for it. All right, so other than that, those are probably the dojo rules that you should know. After you use the equipment or whatever, clean up. Those are very important. Make sure you're not the one just hurry up and leave. Do you need help? Asking those questions. Those are very important. So that way you are not just skillful martial artist, but you are very, very humble and you know what to say, how to do things, and students after coming to you is watching you. They're definitely watching you. So you want to be a role model for community and the world. All right, so thank you so much for listening. If you have any question, let me know. And that I'm gonna be firm, but I'm also be nice. So if you come to my dojo online or on site, training, definitely I'm gonna be the one to helping you out. But if you have any question, let me know. And have a good Friday.